You are live in the CNN Newsroom. I'm Jim Acosta in Washington, and we begin with breaking news as the Senate has just passed a major piece of President Joe Biden's economic agenda.
The yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the bill, as amended, is passed.
The bill known as the Inflation Reduction Act contains the biggest legislative climate investment in U.S. history and also makes big changes to health care policy. It's headed to the House later this week after enduring more than a year of painstaking debate and more than 15 hours of a vote-a-rama delirium up on Capitol Hill, which ended just moments ago. CNN's Manu Raju is up on Capitol Hill for us. Manu, I think this was once called the Build Back Better agenda for President Biden. He didn't get everything that he wanted, not everything that Democrats wanted, but they got a lot of what they initially were going after. How did it all get resolved? There was some last-minute drama here.
Yeah. There really was. I mean, this really capped more than a year of negotiations within the Democratic Party. You mentioned the Build Back Better agenda. This is significantly scaled back from this, but still significant in its size and scope, dealing primarily with health care, with drug prices, with climate and energy issues, imposing a new 15% corporate minimum tax for big companies that make more than $1 billion. But it was that tax that caused some last-minute drama on the floor of the Senate when Senator Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona, someone who has been difficult for Democrats to nail down the leadership to get her support. She had negotiated some changes at the end, but she also had negotiated on the floor today because of her concerns that this 15% tax could hit some companies that were essentially subsidiaries of large private equity firms that she believes would have been unfairly hit. Now, she did support a Republican plan to essentially nix that provision, nix the subsidiaries that would have been hit by this 15% tax, but Democrats would have revolted if that plan ultimately got into the bill because of the way it would have been paid for. So as a result, there were last-minute negotiations, discussions behind the scenes, and they came up with a compromise for an alternative way to pay for this proposal. And now this bill, after getting Sinema on board and getting Senator Joe Manchin, who initially cut this deal just a couple of weeks ago after spending more than a year of negotiating, they have now gotten all 50 Democrats on board behind this bill, which will now head to the House. The House is going to come back on Friday, and we do expect the House to pass this bill despite having a very narrow majority the Democrats have in that chamber, and despite the vigorous opposition from Republicans who contend that this could hurt the economy given its tax increases. But Democrats say that they believe that voters ultimately will give them some political benefit for this because of the way it gives Medicare the power for the first time to negotiate prescription drug prices, spends hundreds of billions of dollars on climate and energy initiatives in an effort to reduce carbon and greenhouse gas emissions by 40% over the next decade, and extends health care subsidies as well under the Affordable Care Act for 3 years. But they were able to get this done by a straight party line vote by using a special budget maneuver to avoid a Republican filibuster. So despite the Republican opposition and the difficulty in getting liberals and moderates in line, they were able to get behind this approach, get it past the Senate, and now it looks like it will become law in just a matter of days here, Jim.
All right, Manu Raju, we'll let you get some rest. Thanks very much for following all the twists and turns for us. We appreciate it.